Can I begin, ma'am?
Yes, today being the World Health Day, we're going to talk about emotional well being as we are more into spreading awareness on mental health. So, overall, when we're talking about overall health, I think mental health is also a priority, and that's why we're talking about this today. And we have Ms. Ranjani with us, who's a counseling psychologist and an acupuncturist, to speak about this. So, yeah, I give the mic to Ranjani to go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. Good morning to all. I welcome you all to the session. So today we'll be talking about emotional well-being and expressive arts therapy. That is how we can use expressive arts in the therapeutic process of emotional well-being. So first of all, on the occasion of World Health Day, we'll move on to the definition that is given by the World Health Organization. Mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to their community. So it mentions about how we have to cope with the stresses, how we have to enable ourselves to come out of it. We have our innate potential, isn't it? We have our abilities to learn what we are facing with. That is, learn our difficulties, how we can cope with it, how we can come out. So it mentions about all that we can do to make ourselves better and to contribute to the community as well. The next point says mental health is more than the absence of mental disorders. So, what we usually think is if we do not have mental disorders, then we are completely all right. So, we usually think of mental disorders like serious illnesses, for example, schizophrenia or depression or anxiety disorders. We think only that is important, but then, even if in the absence of that, sometimes we are not well. So, suppose I question someone asking, are you happy today or are you satisfied today? Most of us, we would say yes for a moment, and then we would think about are we really happy or are we really satisfied? And there'll be a lot of things going on in our mind that why we are not satisfied in a particular event or on a particular day. So, mental health is not just about the serious illnesses, but every small issue that we face on an everyday basis. The third point is about mental health as a basic human right. So, mental health is a basic human right that every human has the right to be mentally happy. We have to be mentally satisfied on an everyday basis. So, whatever situations we come across, we have the um, rights to have a self awareness, rights to know about ourselves, right to be assertive, right to have our own freedom, and many more things. So, it is a basic human right. Okay, why mental health is important? Why mental health is important? Because, first of all, it affects our own self. It is the overall well being of a person. So, only if I am well, I can take care of all the others in my family or in my society. So, first of all, I should be mentally fit. So, mental wellness of a person in an individual level, it includes being positive. We need to be positive, confident, and many other things. Mental health is important because it also impacts our physical health. For example, we have heard of psychosomatic diseases in which, on a prolonged period, suppose we are having mental issues, for example, fear or anxiety, then it can also lead to a problem in our physical health. In many cases, I've seen people who have fear and anxiety when they are nervous to attend an interview or not nervous to meet a boss and talk about the promotion or the salary raise. They overthink and they end up getting a back pain. They end up getting cramps in the muscles. So these are all psychosomatic disorders where, due to the anxiety and fear, they're having physical issues. So mental health is important because we have to make sure that we are mentally fit, not to affect our physical health. Then mental health also influences the relationship within family and work. So, like I told in the first point, when we are completely all right, when we are fit enough to, when we are mentally fit, we can help with our family and family people. can have a cordial relation with them. Also, our corporal life will be good. We can have a good relation with our co-workers, with our bosses, with our juniors, or whatsoever. If we are not mentally healthy, suppose we are angry or we are not so communicative, there'll be a lot of gaps in the communication. There'll be misunderstanding between the members of the family, in the workspace, and all that. So this can lead to a lot of quarrels or unsatisfaction in the work. Mental health is important because we can build resilience. Resilience is the ability to cope up with the challenges. So all of us have failures and all of us have setbacks. But then when we are mentally fit, we can build that resilience. That is, I know what my problem is. I know what are the solutions. And I can find out the solutions. I can find out how to cope up with them and how to come out of it. So this is resilience. So when we are not very mentally fit, that is, suppose we are depressed or not depressed, I would say, suppose we are sad. Suppose we are sad, we will not know how to come out of our solutions. So in that case, we can explore ourselves, we can build resilience, and we know how to cope up and come out of it. The next one is developing the community or society. Yes. So when one person in a family is when he knows how to cope up with the challenges, when he is resilient enough, he can build a good family first of all, and one family can create a good it can create a good part of the society. So that way, as an entire community or a society, we can build ourselves. So these were a few important things about why mental health is important. We'll move on to the next. These are a few skills that we need for having a good mental health. The first one is self awareness. Like I told you, we all have some innate qualities within us. We don't know what they are because we are not aware of them. We have never dealt with it in a deeper manner. We're always on the surface level where we know something, but we are not so aware of the actual aspect of it. So first of all, self awareness is something that can give us the innermost feelings or emotions, and why we're behaving in a such in a particular manner. We can know about all that about ourselves. Usually we don't think about ourselves, we always look at the other person, and we try to um, we are better in knowing the other persons more than ourselves. So self awareness is very important. The next one is emotional regulation. So we have to regulate any emotion that we have. Emotions can include feelings such as anger or worry, fear, having negative thinking. So all those emotions we can regulate. So these are some skills. These are skills that we have to improve in ourselves to have a better mental health. The next one is about mindfulness and heartfulness. So wherever, so we have to think and we also have to feel at the same time. So whatever emotions we have, it could be from our heart, but we also have to think rationally whether it is right or not. For example, suppose today I'm feeling sad about something, so I have to rationally think whether is it meaningful that I'm sad. Do I always why am I sad? Do I always have to be sad for such incidents? I have to think about all that. So that is mindfulness and heartfulness. That is taking your heart along with the mind and taking the mind also along with the heart. So both of them have to function together. They cannot function independently. Next is empathy. Empathy is understanding the feelings of others, putting ourselves in the shoes of the other person, and understanding what they're feeling. So sometimes we might think that certain issues are really small. For example, if my family members is worrying about something, I might feel that it's a very small issue. Why should I bother about that? Or why are they thinking about that? But then, when I put myself in the shoes of that family member, I can see why they are feeling such a thing. So it is important to be empathetic to anything, any situation, any feeling that someone is feeling. The next one is resilience. We had discussed about resilience. It is the ability to cope up with something, certain things. Then problem solving. So once we have the self awareness, and once we know what is rational thinking, what is whether we're thinking from the heart or the mind, because sometimes the heart can say yes, I need this, but the mind will say you do not need this. And sometimes the mind will say yes, you need this, but the heart might say the opposite way around. So when we know about all that, we know how to solve our own problems. So once we know to solve our problems, this is going to be a great skill in helping us relieve from our issues. The next one is about healthy communication. So again, the communication has to be it has to be a two-way communication. Two-way in the sense we have to think about what the other person is going through also. So for example, I'm having a client. I need to put myself in the shoes of the client. I need to understand completely so that I can have a healthy communication with the client. Healthy communication in it also includes being positive, not always mistaking the client or not understanding the person in a wrong perspective. So it is a very deeper aspect because communications are very healthy. So if we use the wrong words in the wrong terms, it can hurt the other person. Okay, the next one is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is very important. Um, we have our own freedom and rights, but then we also have to understand the other person's emotions that they have on us. So it is important to set boundaries. At the same time, we have to be assertive without hurting the other person. So when we set our boundaries, it should not go and hurt the other person. At the same time, we have to explain them why we are setting such particular boundaries. The next one is about gratitude and positive thinking. Gratitude, we always have to be thankful for whatever relations that we have within ourselves. Gratitude is we have to focus on what is going on well. So instead of what is going on wrong, it is better that we focus on what is going on well. So regularly, when we practice the gratitude towards others, it can improve our mood and the other person's mood, and overall, it can help with the mental health. And the last point would be seeking support. So seeking support in the sense, once we go through all the steps, that is awareness, gratitude, heartfulness, mindfulness, and all that. Sometimes we might not be able to come out of our own issues. So in that case, it is good to seek support. So we can seek the support of a friend of a very close friend or a family member, or when we need professional help, we must not be doubtful about what this profession is, what that is. We can go and indulge in some kind of an activity. We can go to professionals. We can get through activities and seek support through that. So we do not have to handle everything alone. We do not have to put up all the burden on ourselves, try to come out of it, but we can also have the support of the other person. So these are all a few skills which will help us with the mental health, to have a good mental health. Yes. So we can see the various age groups. We have infancy and childhood, that is from 0 years to 12 years. Adolescence from 13 to 19. In adulthood, we have early adulthood, which is from 20 years to 34 years. Middle, which is from 35 to 44. Late adulthood, which is from 45 to 65 years. Sorry, late adulthood. Yeah, there's a separate category, with late adulthood, which is 65 years plus. Now, all of these categories have their own roles to play. We have our own personalities, our own importance, our own qualities based on that particular age. So, for example, if a grandparent wants to communicate with the grandchild, he has to put himself or herself in the shoes of that child. For example, a 70-year-old wants to talk to a 5-year-old kid. So, the communication should be so healthy such that he is able to understand and communicate back what that child needs. This is a simple example of healthy communication. We had talked about boundaries. So the same way, for example, the grandparent might talk to the child in a very free manner, but the same words cannot be used by the child to the grandparent. So in that way, communications have to be healthy, and the grandparent has to teach the child about his or her boundary and the grandparent's boundary also. Okay. Next, we'll move on to expressive arts therapy. Expressive arts therapy is a therapeutic process where we indulge in such activities such as creative writing, poetry, journaling, visual arts, drama, music, dance, and spiritual activities. So this is very unique based on each person. So each person, we all of us have some creative art within us, but only the percentages can vary. For example, some person could be extremely good in creative writing, some could be good in journaling, some of us could be good in visual arts, some in drama, some in dance and music and all that. So creative writing is where we write down our, we use a pen and we write down all our thinking, our thought process. Poetry is something similar to that. We can bring them in a rhythmatic manner. For visual arts, there are many types of visual arts where we can use different types of products such as sketch pens or crayons, paint. We can use anything that we wish to, and we can make art out of what we think or what we feel. I have given a few examples here. One is an animal in its favorite place. The next one is a mind map. That is whatever is going on in my mind or who I think I am. I can put it as a flow chart. I can put it as a diagram where it has different mappings and then further mappings also, sub mappings. Okay. The next one is a drama. It's like role playing and enabling one person's acting. Sorry, acting out one person's role. So in drama therapy, we can it's like acting out two roles such that one person can understand the other person's role and vice versa, and the viewers can also watch what is going on. So, for example, if a situation is acted out, for example, if a person is angry and he talks angrily with anger to the other person. So when the drama is being acted out, the person who actually got the anger, he can watch and he can learn what was wrong, what went wrong with his particular personality, or what went wrong with the situation. So that is drama therapy. Then we have music and dance. Music, we know a variety of music, a variety of instruments. So in music therapy, we can use instruments like guitar, violin, or whatever. And dance therapy is dancing based on the music. So it is our choice of moving the body parts. We can move any part of the body or the entire body. We have to feel the music and we have to imagine ourselves being indulged in that activity. The third one is sorry. The last one is spiritual expressive art. Spiritual is something very deep. Only some people can feel that spiritual act within themselves. Okay. So every all of us have this innate quality of expressing ourselves, and within these activities, we can bring out those innate qualities outside. So all of us have desires, all of us have thoughts, but some of us cannot bring out the desires that will be deep within us. There's one common thing that I've felt with men post retirement. They do not like they might have not got the chance to study, chance for education of what they liked. So what they will do is after retirement, that is after all the responsibilities are done, they will go into education again. They will go into education. They will learn. They will try to express themselves in public speaking or creative writing, in spiritual activities especially, and so on. Okay, here there's one activity which I want to focus on. It is the social atom theory by G.L. Moreno. So, what the social atom theory says is that these have concentric circles. This social atom, just like how we have atom in the science, it's a social atom of concentric circles. So, it is the nucleus of persons emotionally related to us. For example, I will imagine myself in the center, and on the nucleus, I will draw the person. I will mark the persons who are emotionally related to me. So, this theory is a science of interpersonal relationships. It comprises of the significant people within our lives at any given time point. For example, today, if I think of the important people, I will mark them on the circles. So, how we go about with this activity is that I will imagine myself in the center. So, this is just like the solar system where we can imagine the sun in between, all the orbits and all the planets going around. So I will imagine myself in the centermost circle. We can have any number of circles. It is not limited. There's no limit for it. We can have either one circle, two circles, or even 10 circles. That is up to our choice. And whoever is important to us, whoever we feel important, we'll put it in the initial circle. Whoever is the next important, we'll put them in the next circle. And whoever we feel little distant, we'll put them in the next to next circles. That is in the third circle or the fourth circle. So we will be writing only the name of only the initials. For example, if I am Ranjani Panivel, I'll write only RP in middle. The same way, whoever I'm thinking of, I will only take their initials and put it on the boundary of that circle. So if it's a male, I will write the alphabets. I will write the initials and put a triangle around them. If it's a female, I'll put a circle around the initials. So
Can
after
we
we are done with this,
can we try it out now?
yes, ma'am, sure. Yes, sure. All of you, if you have a paper and a pencil or sketch pens, please take your paper and you can begin with the activity.
Any doubts, please feel free to ask Ranjani.
Once you're ready with the paper and the pen or pencil, please put a thumbs up, and then I can move on to the next step. I can tell you in detail on what to do. Shall we move on with the activity? Shall I start the instructions again?
If anyone wants the instruction again, please put a thumbs up.
Yes, ma'am, I would like to.
So on a piece of paper, you will be drawing concentric circles, like how I've drawn here, like how I've shown here. You could have any number of circles. That is completely up to you. So once you're done with the circles, please put your initials exactly in the middle, in the smallermost circle. And after that, please think for a moment. Please close your eyes and think for a moment who is going to be in your initial circle. The initial circle will be the closest people in your circle. Do not overthink. Whatever comes to your mind, you can just think about it, and then you can think about the person who might come in the next circle and the next to next circle and so on. So once you get that person in your mind, please write only their initials. Okay, write their initials. If it's a male, draw a triangle around it. It's a female, please draw a circle around it.
Circles can be many circles as we like.
Yes, any number of circles, yes. If you have any doubts, please ask. And once you're done with the markings, please let me know. Please put a thumbs up. Yes, Vidya ma'am.
Ma'am, according to your circle that you've drawn there, like the center circle is purple color or pink something,
Hmm.
and beyond that you have drawn that blue circle. So, are you mean to say that we are supposed to write the initials between the purple and the blue of
No,
the
it is
people?
on the orbit. Just like how you have the planets on the orbit in the solar system, the same way, on top of the circle, you will put your initials. It
Okay,
is not
okay,
in
okay,
between. It is on top of that line itself that you have to plot.
okay, ma'am.
In center, we should have our initial, right?
Yes. Just imagine the solar system.
Okay.
In the
Ma'am,
place of sun, you will put your own initials.
yeah, ma'am, we can have the circles in the pencil. candy.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes,
And
sure.
then the triangles and circles or arrows and all in the color we want, right?
The arrows, for the arrows, there are some restrictions. I'll go
She hasn't yet
through them
gone
later.
to the next step, ma'am. Until like whatever she said, let us do it, and then she'll tell us the next step of what we need to do.
Yeah. So at present, I can do the circles in pencil.
Yes.
That's your choice. Those who finish the first step, please put a thumbs up.
Vidya ma'am, any doubts?
No, ma'am, I just completed this first step.
Okay.
Ma'am, you are raising your hand. We are expecting you to put a thumbs up if you've completed the first step. Thank you.
Okay. Shall we move on to the next step, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes. So after we have plotted all the initials, the next step is going to be putting arrow marks. So suppose we have a positive wrap over that person, we'll be putting a green color arrow mark from ourselves to that initial. Okay. And suppose we have a caution. Suppose it is going to be a caution between us and the other person in communication. We could put a yellow. Suppose we find danger, we suppose we have danger towards the other person, we'll be marking it in red. So there'll be two types of arrow. One is from me to the person. The other arrow will be from the person to myself. It's a two-way process. Okay. The first one will be from me to the person, and the second arrow will be from the person to myself, where I have to put the arrow based on what I think that the person thinks of me. So the person could be thinking of me in a positive manner. In that case, from the person to myself, I'll be putting a green arrow. Suppose I have a caution to myself to that same person, I'll be putting a yellow arrow.
Those who've completed can put a thumbs up.
Shall we move on, ma'am? Or shall we wait?
You can ask your people.
If you can move on, please put a thumbs up. If you want some more time, please let me know. I hope we can move on to the next slide. So this is one example that I've given.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, what if you're unsure of the color?
If you're unsure, you have to decide between whether it is green, yellow, or red. So maybe
Yeah,
you could think
I
about
mean, not from us to that others, if you're aware, but you're not sure of the reciprocal color.
no, what do you think of that person, that what he thinks of you?
Okay, it's just that even if we are
It's
unsure,
it
whatever
is
we
not about
feel.
what the other person thinks. It is not about what the other person thinks. It is about what you think that the other person thinks about you.
Okay, ma'am.
So if you are having, if he is having a healthy relationship with you, if you think about it that way, you can put a green.
Okay,
If you think that the person is cautious about you can put yellow.
okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So on the next slide, I have shown an example of the social atom. You could have any number of persons in the first circle. You could even have zero number of persons. That is no one in the first circle. Okay. So once we are done with the social atom, there are few things that we can diagnose from it. So the first thing will be people and the significance. So we can understand who is in our closest circle, which all people are in our closest circle, who are in the second most closest, and who are at a distance. We can assess all that. So all of this is going in our mind. So from our mind, what we feel is this. So when so person is close to us, so for a person is little distance away from us. Then we can see the distance of how they are. Sometimes the opposite person might feel close to us, but we might find a distance with them. Then we can look at the number of females and males. The number of females and males can tell us something about our circle. Suppose I'm a female, I have a lot of females within me. Sometimes I might need some males in my circle also, because usually males tend to be more, for example, they tend to go out more, they tend to explore more. Their learnings could be a little different compared to what the females think. So in that case, I can also have an exposure towards what a male thinks. And similarly, if I'm a female, if I have a lot of male around me, I might have to think about, I might have to move into what a female thinks. I might have to understand about more of female, um about their understanding and all that. So based on that, we can diagnose what our personalities are. And the next one would be about the arrow marks. We had drawn the arrow marks. So based on that, we can guess how much danger we have within our relationships. For example, if there's more of red, we are having more danger. More danger in the sense we sense more danger. Uh, we definitely have to take a step out about that, because being in danger is not good. So we have to have some self-awareness. We have to solve all our problems, and we have to move on to the other colors. So if it's yellow, more of yellow, it means we have more caution. Again, this is also a step that we have to take. Um, the next one is green. Suppose we have green. If we have more greens in our social atom, it means we are more comfortable in communicating and living with the others. And the same way for the other person to us. So whenever we have more of yellow and reds, we have to make sure that we sort out our problems. We first of all find out what it is. We will sort it out, and then we have to change it to green color. So the social atom therapy, what we can do is we can have two rounds of it. For example, we have done something today. Suppose we diagnose our social atom, we can set a
We
goal.
are
For
not
example,
diagnosing, sorry to interrupt, we are not diagnosing, we're just trying to analyze. We're
analyze,
trying to
yes.
analyze ourselves, who are the significant people in our life, and what is our closeness with people, with those characters which we have included. They can have males, they can have females, but again, to look into, like how you rightly explained, um, our perception about what they're thinking about us, and then to see if there is a lot of what is there in our mind. Are we carrying more of caution, or are we sensing a lot of danger with people, or it is in our mind, or that we think that it is there in their mind. And just making a comparison between, now it is only what is there in our mind in the diagram, but later on you said the before and after goals, no, so just to see whether that is matching with the reality. When we rethink over it, and when we are able to restructure our thoughts, maybe there are chances that those yellows and reds can turn to greens. Or sometimes when there is a real danger for someone, maybe the best option would be to remove those characters from the atom.
Yes. Yes. About goal setting, I wanted to give an example.
Yes.
So, based on today's emotions, suppose I'm drawing a social atom, and tomorrow there's a wedding. Suppose I want to attend the wedding. I'm doubtful about my communication because somewhere I have some yellow that I have to be cautious towards this particular relative or something. Um, so I could be hesitating to go and talk to them. So what I will do is after today's social atom, I will think about what was the actual problem with the other relative, why I'm having this why I'm hesitating to go and talk to them, why I'm not feeling that freedom. So after I set a goal that I will solve so and so problems, and after the wedding, after 2 or 3 days, I can go and communicate with them properly in an effective manner, and I can redo the social atom. So in that case, there will definitely be a difference between what I had done before and what I've done after the process. So these are a few activities that we can do to know ourselves, analyze ourselves. Thank you.
Ma'am, can you go to the first slide? Yes, thank you. Okay. So, in addition to what Ranjani ma'am had presented, I would like to add on a few other points. So, as mental health professionals, we have an important role to play in spreading awareness and breaking the stigma that many of us carry, even in families where they have mental health professionals. For example, my own family, when I am providing counseling, it took a long time for them to accept that there's someone from this particular field. If I'm giving counseling or if I'm meeting clients, they're okay with it. But if someone in my own family or if I myself want to take some help, they are not very open to it. It's okay for others to take help from their daughter or wife, but or whoever I am to them, even a friend, but they're not very open for them to go and meet a mental health professional. Still, that stigma is there. Why I'm giving this example is when that can happen in a family where they themselves have a mental health professional, then I don't know how this goes on with the general population who do not have exposure or people in a similar field like this. So that's one thing we need to like take it across to people on today being a special event, I mean special day for us, and it's internationally recognized a day where we need to take this forward to other people. And as Ranjani rightly said, it's not that only people who have a major mental illness who go to a doctor, I mean, or a mental health professional or a psychologist, whoever it is, whether it is psychiatric social worker or whoever it is. So I think that sometimes if we are feeling confused or we have some difficulty or challenges in making a decision, we are stuck, we are feeling stuck at a point where we are like unable to move beyond it, maybe due to some financial ties, we're stuck. And no people, not everybody is well equipped with problem solving strategies, because most of the times in schools we are teaching children lessons, we are teaching them the subject, but I don't think that many schools are teaching children the necessary life skills for survival, including the parents, including adults like us. We have a responsibility to reform the younger generation as a mental health professional, to train them on life skills, which is very, very important for the survival of the individual in terms of what they need to do when they're facing a struggle. So, if plan A doesn't work well, immediately I will get upset, I'll get into the depressive mode, and then I will indulge in self harm, and some to the extent of even suicide is the strategy which many of the youngsters are using these days. And if there is a pain which is so intolerable to me, then it's okay for me to even abuse drugs, is something which I'm seeing very frequently nowadays in my profession. And to escape from loneliness, I think many of them are going into the virtual world rather than being in connect with the real world. The real world is the families, the neighborhood circle, the school, the friends, and not only the classroom, but in schools, the extracurricular activities they are in, whether it is being events like an annual day or a sports day or something else that goes on in school. So when I'm part of schools, I would make this month of October very special to spread awareness on mental health, because it's the month where the world I mean the mental health day falls. So that's one thing. And she spoke about resilience. Resilience is nothing but when I fall down, I should still have that hope that I can get up and walk. How many ever times I fall, I should still gain the strength to get up and walk with whatever resource or support system I have around me. Is something which we need to learn, but not being stagnant, stuck in one place, and wallowing over it. That is not a strategy. If plan A doesn't work, plan B works. So that is something which we can tell ourselves as well as spread this message across. And I think like when she was speaking about mental health, one aspect which I wanted to address here is psychological and emotional abuse. Psychological and emotional abuse are not very visible, like how a physical abuse, you can see wounds over the body, you can see bruises over the body. So but then when there's a psychological and emotional abuse happening, I think the legal system now is fair enough to have included that under the protection of women against domestic violence act. Emotional abuse is manipulating, gaslighting, using bad language on the person, keeping the person in constant mental trauma. And I think the majority, it is like very favorable. I mean, the system in our country is very protective of women and children who go through this, and obviously there are men also who can go through this. But I think like I'm talking about this pwdv, exactly where it also comes under abuse, like how it pains when someone physically hits us, it also pains when someone hits us emotionally. Emotions need to be respected. Mutual respect in any relationships is very necessary. And I think that's why Ranjani brought in this activity of social atom, to see how important it is and to see what is our emotional connection with people who are significant to us. And one more thing which she was speaking about is the connection between the body and mind. So, like physical health is connected with the psychological health of the individual. And similarly, the psychological health is very important for an individual to be physically healthy. For example, if I'm under constant stress, without reason, without like your tests are not showing anything wrong, how many ever times I go to the doctor, but then still I'll be having some or the other physical ailments. Maybe I can have constant headaches, maybe I can have like constant stomach ache, or sometimes when I'm too anxious I can have gastrointestinal issues. When I'm very anxious and I do a lot of overthinking, and I have this kind of fear to visit certain places. Maybe it's a social anxiety that I go through. It can be directly connected to the gastrointestinal system. And I think it's very important for us to have enough rest and like to keep ourselves peaceful for as we are aging, to have healthy circulatory system and a good healthy nervous system. Our thoughts and how we maintain our mind is also very important. How we are keeping ourselves psychologically healthy is also very important to be physically healthy. And she was talking about emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is nothing but channelizing the emotions. All of us have positive emotions as well as negative emotions. Positive emotions can be happiness, joy, enjoyment, peace, calm, tranquility, serenity. All these are positive emotions. So negative emotion part can be sadness, feeling of disappointment, frustration, anger, guilt. There's so many negative emotions also that we go through. But just imagine that if I feel angry and I'm angry with something, if I cannot just like that let it out to people around me. I can't shout at people. Shouting at people, breaking things, throwing things, or hitting the other person, using bad language, foul language on the other person. This is all not acceptable ways of uh, showing that emotion. Maybe sometimes we take advantage at home, but maybe we have to bring to our awareness that we cannot do that in our workplace. When we cannot do that in our workplace and take people for granted because we will get back there, I think the same thing we need to follow at home. So that is something I feel that. So there's a way in which you can regulate your emotion. If I'm feeling angry, maybe I can postpone my anger by focusing on something else which I like. Maybe I'm taking up some work and I'm doing that work. It can be some physical work, or it can be some. I have some work in my laptop, or I'm reading a book. Maybe after some time, that intensity of that anger comes down, but I can address it. It's necessary for me to address my emotion. If I'm angry with my mother, or if I'm angry with my husband, I can sit and talk with them in an assertive way. That's what she explained. Instead of hurting the other person, I don't have to even compromise on my own self. When I keep on pushing on my anger inside, I will end up getting a lot of diseases, and I will start harming the other person without my own knowledge. Without my knowledge, I will start harming the person in different ways by bad mouthing the person, by speaking ill about the person behind their back, or do something which is quite stealthy, no, against that particular individual, because now I'm developing a little bit of vengeance because I'm not able to directly attack the person. So that's one thing. So I think emotional regulation is very important for each of us. Sometimes someone like you and me who's in a normal life can get into uh, criminal offense just because that 1 minute they lost their control. They were impulsive. Like I remember the case of my senior, she's Dr. Asha Dinesh from Chennai, who trained me in the beginning of my profession in 2010, I suppose I was with her. She told me about the case. She used to visit the Puril for meeting the prison inmates. So when they were doing this work, there was one person who was like doing office job, a white collar office job. So he had asked for leave from his boss, but due to whatever reason, he was denied permission. And then the reason why he asked for leave was because his mother was unwell, who was in the native, was living in the native. He wanted to go and visit the mother. So, suddenly after a few days, he gets information that the mother passed away. So this man gets very angry that he was not able to be there at that time when this happened, and this man didn't grant me leave. So he just gets into the office, I mean his cabin, the boss cabin, and he slits the man's throat and he dies. That one fraction of second. So this man who did this offense has a family, and the mother who's gone off is not going to come away. I'm not justifying what the boss did, but the boss could have his own reasons. Maybe there could be lack of employees, and he did not know how serious the illness of the mother was, or he also wouldn't have wantedly done this because he wanted his mother to die without his intervention there. I don't think the boss planned anything against him. There could be a genuine reasons for him to think from the aspect of the company. Of course, on humanitarian grounds, we need to think about the welfare of our employees as well, but we don't know on what situation he denied it. And now that man who died can also have a family. And now the what is about the company's safety is a question mark. I don't think many people will willingly come after a reputation of an institutional organization is once spoiled. To regain the trust on that particular place, it takes some time for the others. So this is an example of how, if we are not able to manage our emotions, that is, if we do not have emotional regulation, how we can land up in trouble. So today he's in jail. And then she was talking about spirituality in terms of expressive arts therapy. So I would say it is about self actualization. The highest need of every human being, after our basic needs are fulfilled, is to lead a life of meaning and purpose. And there could be people who are facing empty nest syndrome after a period of time without knowing awareness that that is what they're going through. There's a period where every a person we keep running to settle down, to like educate our children, to get them into good jobs, and to like get them married. So many things, no, we also pressurize our own selves to like to meet the standards which the society has set, to buy a house, to buy a car, all that we did for a period. And after that, now we feel that we are settled down, and we are maybe close to retirement. And when I turn and I look back at my life, I would maybe feel a sense of emptiness that today my children are married, they have grandchildren, maybe they're living abroad, or whatever be the scenario. Now I have nothing to do. I finished everything, I have nothing to do. Then what is the purpose? What is the purpose? It is then that search comes to look into yourself, and people use various methodologies to for that search. Maybe they go on a p- like a, a religious tour, or they go and join a meditation camp, or they go in for yoga or something else they keep doing to just keep themselves occupied. But that emptiness comes for people when the utmost need of self actualization is not yet fulfilled. So that's something which I wanted to bring to notice. So yes, can I hear from the others if you have any questions to Ranjani or to me, or you want to give some feedback on your takeaway from what we saw today? The floor is yours. Please go ahead. Anyone? Yeah.
Ma'am, this is Vidya. You and Ranjini ma'am had spoken about the skills, like, for emotional well-being through spiritual activities. Right. So I just wanted to add that, right, more than like after your it's more than self actualization, even it is becoming a need for it can be used as a basic tool for our emotional well-being as a kind of expressive art. Spiritual therapies also can be used as a holistic approach for our emotional well-being, like going for meditation, breathing, uh, doing yoga asanas, and collaborative approach. Because
Yes.
like yes ma'am, it is more like even for it really helps actually, as you said, no, like when you are feeling really bad, when that situation, when you said when you're very angry, like rather than shouting, you just try to take a different direction for that moment, so that you can just calm yourself down and then try to express your feelings in a constructive manner. So that kind, even for during that moment, we can use these kinds of breathing exercise. Just take some deep breaths. They say, just take some deep breaths, in and out, in and out, in and out. You just try to calm yourself down. It takes time according to the individual. It varies, but it has been to be very effective for these normal scenarios, like where you really get sad or you really just want to burst out your feelings to them. During such situations, I really felt like that has been very, very effective for immediate, you know, getting getting to get back on track.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Can I hear a little bit from Murshida, your takeaway from today?
Am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, the Ranjani presentation was very good. I thank Ranjani for a wonderful presentation because Ranjani explained each and everything about the mental health very clearly in workplace, in home, about our stress and everything. Really, it was very nice, Ranjani, and the activity also was very wonderful. And also, thank you, ma'am, for your explanation about our behavior, as we shouldn't behave as we behave in the home. The in workplace, we have to maintain some profession thing in the workplace, so we cannot just like that show our emotions. We too have some consideration in the workplace since we are in a profession. So that you explained it very clearly, because sometimes when the people get emotion in the workplace, because when they get scoldings from the higher people, that is from their boss or from the team leader, anything, and there's a chance of them losing the job also. At that time they have to maintain the emotions and professional ethics. That I felt it is very good in seeing you telling that, and I really appreciate Ranjini for explaining in a very clear way, and the presentation was very good. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Ranjini.
Thank you,
Thank
Murshid.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ranjani. Please, a few words from you.
It was a good experience to talk today about psychology, because usually I do presentations on acupuncture. I've talked about that a lot, but not combining both, today it was a different experience for me. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Can we close for now? Are there any questions? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a interactive audience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Vidya ma'am, do you have anything to tell?